is New York opted into the October 5th through 6th online exam. You'll remember last week they had canceled their in-person September exam. So they are now doing the October online exam. However, and this is a big however, they have made some interesting choices about who's eligible to take it. So in all the other jurisdictions who are doing the online exam, anybody who would otherwise be eligible to sit for the bar in that state is eligible to take the online exam. In New York, however, they have automatically registered anyone who is registered for the September exam. They've put them over into the October exam. And then the only other people who and that was, if you'll remember, a very small pool of applicants, a very specific pool of applicants. And the only other people that they're letting apply to take this one are JD candidates who graduated in 2019 or later, who previously took the bar in New York and failed no more than 2 times and want to sit for the remote exam. So, Jeff, you want to talk about what in the world they could be thinking? Why would they limit an online exam, which has no coronavirus large gathering concerns?
Yeah. And I'm going to be blunt about this. I think that this is a huge mistake by the New York bar examiners. I think it is a very transparent attempt to limit the opportunity for people to pass and take the New York bar. And it is frankly discriminatory. There is no reason in an online setting where you don't have physical capacity limits to not allow people to sit for the exam. And as we're going to see in other states that have switched over to online, they opened up their registration. They didn't restrict it. This move by New York is an attempt, in my view, to artificially boost the chances of first-time bar takers, as though they need any help anyway. I mean, first-time bar takers represent 7 out of 10 of the passing seats around the country. And I think that what the New York bar is doing here is simply saying, we don't want you in the bar in New York if you failed a couple of times, and we don't even want to give you a chance to prove that you deserve to be there. And it runs completely contrary to what every other bar jurisdiction in the country is doing. As we look at states like California and Oregon and Washington, and now today North Carolina, these are jurisdictions trying to lower their scores and admit more people, and New York is going exactly the opposite direction. I think that it is reprehensible, and I think that the New York judiciary and the New York bar examiners need to be called to task for this. Maybe they thought they could slip this through and no one would care, or that the people who have failed more than twice aren't a constituency that is worth listening to. Let me just tell you, our podcast gets listened to by thousands of people, and I'm not yelling, but I'm mad and I'm outraged that they have done this, and that they did it with no warning and for no discernible reason except trying to create an exam that's essentially it's going to be all first-time takers. There'll be a handful of people that will qualify, but between that 2019 and you had to have taken the New York bar, but you couldn't have failed more than twice. I mean, they're limiting that group. And I think you pointed this out. You have to write and apply to take the exam if you're in that setting. You don't get an automatic entry in. You have to be, I don't know, what are they going to do? Do a blood test? I mean, what's going on?
Yeah, I know. They just said that you can request to sit if you weren't already being allowed to sit or didn't have a seat in the September exam. You'd have to write in and request to be allowed to sit. It's very strange. There's no reason related to coronavirus to restrict the number of people taking your online exam. So it feels a bit like like using coronavirus as a cover, because it gives you the opportunity to slip in what you'd like to do because, hey, everything's topsy-turvy right now, when really there's no discernible reason related to health or safety to limit the number of people taking an online test.
Yeah, it's punitive and it's wrong. And so a week ago, New York said, we canceled the exam entirely. Go home, everybody. Then they said, well, in August, we'll have some decision from our task force. Well, they didn't even wait till August. They waited, 2 or 3 days. And then they, out of the blue, announced this online test, which we see, and I think as an overview, we saw a bunch of states moving to the October 5th and 6th exam. And we're going to talk about all of those. But clearly there is a mad dash for that date. And that's going to become the new July bar exam this year. I mean, it's pretty clear that's what's happening. But I think that what New York is doing is just chaotic at best. I mean, that's the best interpretation you can put on it. And it's sinister is the worst interpretation. And I really hope that by calling attention to this, and I hope that as others call attention to this, New York is going to step back from the brink and say, well, wait a minute, we really can't justify what we're doing here, and maybe we should open this up. I'm not saying it's beyond the realm of possibility, because a week ago there was no exam, so things can change. And we saw several other states this week who insisted they weren't going to make a change. So I think you should consider the possibility that it still could happen. But if you were a prior New York bar taker, or you took the bar outside of New York in the UB and wanted to come in and had failed before, keep studying, keep working. It is possible that they're going to open up once they get called into the spotlight here and it becomes clear what they've done. So that's my take on New York. Not happy with those guys at all.
Yeah, it's not great.